Sorry about that, babe.
All right, and for all the marbles, baby, we got King League Master. Now this one almost broke me, I'm not gonna lie. I probably did about 60 attempts at this before I actually completed it. I will say this right off the jump, keep the same strats if you've been following along the series. Try to get bumped at the beginning of the race. You know, typically try to use your turbo boost through rough areas or straightaways. You know, treat each course like an obstacle course, meaning try to avoid all the obstacles, but also the drivers, which I didn't do right there, as well as the drone orange/brown vehicles. But with all that being said, let's get down to the tracks. This one's pretty straightforward. I typically just refer to them as numbers. Obviously they all have names, but you know, when I'm quickly reflecting on them, I always assign numbers to them. So for King League, I'm usually looking at course 1 and 4. I think 4 is Red Canyon 2, if I remember correctly. Those are the easiest ones. Yes, we're in 6th place right now. It's very easy to get hit off course, so to speak, pretty early on. If you don't get the double bump, sometimes the positioning through the tight area gets a little wonky, and that's why we got, you know, basically working from behind all the time. This is I think this is actually my believe it or not, this is my worst finish. Typically I'd probably say people think this is the easiest one, and rightfully so. You know, you could use your turbo boost right through there to avoid all the rough stuff. You know, the rest of the track is pretty straightforward aside from the kind of bottlenecked area before the rough. But yeah, even on Master Mode, this is relatively easy, you know, because I'm assuming at this point, if you've unlocked Master Mode, you're pretty good at the game. But this is my worst finish. I had a really bad start, and I didn't really make up any ground, despite utilizing my strats. The bad start sometimes is tough to come back from, but I would advise never really giving up, because nothing is over, baby. Nothing is over. At least we got into 3rd place here, going into the final lap. But yeah, I believe that I finished 2nd here, and spoiler alert, on the rest of the races, I think I finished 1, even Firefield. But at this point, guys, like I said, I'm like 60 attempts deep. Whether or not they lasted 1 race, 2 races, 3 races, or all 5, you know, I don't really quite remember. A lot of them were very quick resets. Like if I didn't get any kind of bumps off the start here, I would have just reset instantly. And I was like, dude, I don't care if I'm 3rd all the way across the board. If I finish this, we're done. All right, Deathwind 2. Now this is a tough one. I feel like I got a lot better at it as time went on. Much like the first Deathwind, there's tons of boosts, so you're never really out of the race despite what place you're in. I find it's actually better to be more conservative than not. However, if you don't get a great start, I would advise hitting one of those 2 turbo boosts like I did there. In my opinion, the second one's actually safer, but I hit the first, and you can see we didn't really rank well going out of this first lap, but in my head, that's a W. Because we didn't sustain too much damage, and after the end of my boost, I'm at 3rd, so I'm like, alright, we're in really good shape right now. But what I meant in regards to being conservative is you don't have to hit these boosts. Ideally, at least 3 of the laps, I don't even want to touch them. As you can see, I'm just going straight conservative here, and the reason for this is I'm trying to preserve my power, because this is one of the easiest tracks, if not the easiest track, to blow up. I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, if you have to, literally hit the brakes, take your finger off the gas, and charge up as much as you can on the way out, because you do have that boost as soon as you leave, you know what I mean? And as you can see right here, despite our slow start, we're already in 2nd place. Trying to be conservative there, but did some really bad turning. Hit the 2nd boost, like I said, I typically find it safer, because you'll just kind of bounce back off the walls and then straight up. I usually rarely touch that 3rd boost. In my opinion, the most important one is this one, right at the end, as well as the 2nd. So we've maintained good power, and we're in 1st place now. So at this point, I'm trying to be conservative. Hopefully we don't run into too many people, which we did. I ended up hitting both of those boosts. The first was an accident. The second was intentional because I hit the first and kind of bumped around. But no harm, no foul really at the end of the day. We didn't take that much damage, and we finished that lap also in 1st. Now I want to mention, because King Mode, or King League, is clearly the most difficult that you'll want to finish first as much as possible. That way you get more points and you could rack up the extra lives in case, you know, you're not totally well versed. You might need them. I mean, I ended up having one, I wouldn't say it was a death, I didn't place. I think I finished 4th on the last lap in Firefield. But yeah, much like the first Deathwind, it's all about hitting the boost at the right time. Save your lap gained turbo boost for when you need them. Maintain your sanity. Try to get through that first lap. And just keep pushing on, man. Now we got Port Town 2. Now this one was a thorn in my side. Obviously it's very similar to Port Town 1, except it adds the closed off section of the track, which is way more difficult than Port Town 1. Basically the name of this track is Tight Corridors with Lots of Traffic. It's really, really important to get a good start. The worse start you have, the harder it's gonna be, because there's just going to be more and more cars. You have to navigate through these tight twists and turns, especially up here, which was not open in Port Town 1. This, however, is a great spot to use your turbo boost to get through. And then, you know, to kind of replenish any damage, you'll hit the pit stop here. Now let's talk about this course more. Obviously, big jumps, guys. You're going to want to hold down and continue to hold down to maintain your speed. And you have the magnets coming up after this series of turns. So you're going to want to go right to left to right to left and bump up the B button. Go around this corner and try really hard not to hit the wall. And then here you can actually go a little bit slower. I just kind of take my finger off the gas a little bit there and kind of just go left to right to go through. Like I said, during that last stretch before the finish line, you can use your turbo boost. However, since I wasn't first, I figured it would be a good idea to save it because you never know. With how tricky this track is with the turns, you could very easily be in 3rd place before you know it, even if you're in first the entire race. It's all about these 2 turns here. If you can get through these 2 turns relatively well, which I didn't, and you'll probably see me use a turbo boost now. We're still going to take our time through here. See how much traffic there is, guys? It can get insane through those spots. And thankfully, they all kept bumping on each other, which allowed me to use my boost to reclaim 1st place, which was also key for the points. We're now 100 points away from getting an extra life. Unfortunately, that was really sloppy. It's unforgiving, man. Like, you can clearly see, we ran into the side thing there for like 2 seconds. Next thing you know, we're already losing 1st place. The only bright side about that is we were at a lower rate of speed, which allowed us to go around those corners a little bit easier. You know, otherwise you have to do the L and R button hard, you have to do the, you know, the B bumps and all that kind of stuff. Ugh, squeaking through there. We got our extra life, which is great. And now it's the final lap, so we just have to keep our wits about us. We have 2 turbo boosts, thankfully, if we do run into some trouble, which you never know. These drone racers, as I like to call them, they live to own you. Tight turn, we're gonna slow down around here and try to get the tight turn again. Not too bad. We're gonna just focus on getting through. As soon as we go around this bend, we could hit our boost. Boom. Don't run into this guy. We do, but it's okay. We have another boost in case we need it, but we didn't. We made it through with over half health. We got another 1st place finish. Like I said, in my opinion, that's bar none, the 2nd toughest race, at least in King League, possibly the game. And then it's funny, because then they serve you up Red Canyon 2, which, honestly, I should have included it in my top track list. It's so, the music's good, it's just a fun, easygoing race. It's very similar to Red Canyon 1, except it has this shortcut area, which you're going to see right here. As long as you're going at a high rate of speed, you could take this and skip over some turns. Boom. And if I remember correctly, yeah, I think I have my worst Red Canyon run on this successful run, of course, right? That's how it always happens. I pretty much could do this, you know, sleepwalking at this point, but, you know, when you're 60 plus attempts deep over the course of 2 days, whew, it gets grindy, to say the least. Got a lot of traffic here. We're just trying to focus on us. Continue to hit that high rate of speed to go over this. If you want to hit that shortcut and you're not going at a high rate of speed, you'll have to use a turbo boost. So keep that in mind. This section here just before the finish line is also a good spot to use a boost if you get bumped around, which again, I think that we have a pretty rough ending to this. Possibly on our last 2 laps. A little sloppy, but it's fine. So same spiel here, we're gonna hit those. You don't have to hit all 3 jumps, by the way. You can only hit 2 and still do this pretty easily. The last one, if any, are typically avoided. Make our tight turn, yep. Oh, thankfully we ran into the exploding vehicle and he didn't really derail us in any way. We're just gonna top off here. We still have 2 laps to go. I still feel like that we're gonna run into some problems, but it's okay. So yeah, this track is fairly straightforward. I find it to be very fun. It's just kind of relaxing because, you know, Deathwind 2 and Port Town 2, you know, obviously Firefield upcoming are so tense, and then this is kind of just like a fun track with a great soundtrack. And like I said, if I can go back, I probably would squeak this in my top 5, but oh well. I didn't really appreciate it as much until we did the Master Mode grind. Anyways, guys, final lap. We got all 3 turbo boosts. We're feeling good about ourselves. We're gonna hit this jump. Yeah, I skipped that one because we're going too fast. And we're gonna hit this shortcut here. We have a lot of vehicles upcoming though. We gotta be careful. Make this tight turn. This turn. And actually we got through very smooth. So I'm guessing that the memory that I had was probably the run before this where we made it to Firefield and we died, unfortunately. We had a rough time there on Red Canyon. We still finished first on that run, but anyways, on to Firefield. This is the toughest race in the game, bar none. You might be wondering, you know, about our live situation. So I failed at this race once. This is my 2nd attempt. I edited it out to death, obviously. We hit the 20,000 point threshold, and here we are. So, the name of the game for Firefield, you want to survive. That's number 1. This is the easiest race to lose power. You have to be very careful on your turns. There's lots of tight areas where the CPU can bump you every which way. It's very easy to die, and they don't give you the power replenishment until the end of the race, so it's not at the beginning of each lap. That's done strategically to make it more difficult, clearly. This section, as you're well aware, used to be blue, right? In other areas like White Land and Big Blue, if you get bumped around there, you could lose yourself very quickly. And here is the magnetic pit stop area with the boost, thankfully, which allows you to usually lap 1 or 2 people. However, don't do that on the last lap of the race because it's quicker to go the intended route without the healing. Okay, so let's get started here. This is a tight turn that I find is best to you go full speed into it and kind of take off the gas, and I hold the left trigger and it bounces me kind of in the next direction, and then when I press B it shoots me back up, and then typically after that I will use my turbo boost. And through this general area I'm just trying to survive. There's people always up your butt cheeks because of all the tight turns before. Clearly, you know, the magnet area, you know how to deal with that by now. And you're always going to want to top off as much as possible your power, because chances are, guys, you probably took quite a bit of damage going through. Also, a big rule of thumb, guys, stick to the left. You can basically get as close as possible to the left, and unless these CPUs explode off the landmines, they will not be in your way. So what you saw there was I attempted a different strategy, which I've also seen before. Usually I would bounce off of that wall and maintain a high rate of speed. However, there I decided to go a little bit slower to go through, and I actually noticed that it seems like that's the safer route. Yes, you go a little bit slower, but you conserve more energy, which is very important, because clearly, guys, we're not even close to being done with the race and we're almost dead, you know what I mean? So, either or, if you feel like you're a very, very good handler, you could do the first strat where I recommended just driving and bouncing off the wall, but if you don't feel like you're a good handler, you should probably do the safe strat. There you see me again taking the outside course. We're gonna go around this bend. I think I was trying to do the safe strat there and it didn't work out. But luckily, you know, like I said, guys, with the rough areas, it's a good spot to use your turbo boost. We are taking a bit of damage here, guys. That last turn that I just took, typically if you go fast enough, you could bounce off, but I didn't, and I ate a little bit extra damage, more than I wanted to. Anyway, going through here, we're really hoping that we don't get bumped. and it's very imperative that we get a decent amount of healing done. I actually might slow down even more than usual. Yeah, I slowed down a little bit more than usual, because this is it, guys. This is for all the marbles. We have to finish in the top 3 and not blow up. So let's be tight on our turns and try to avoid all these obstacles. That's not too bad because we didn't lose too much speed. We're going to go through here and we're going to do the conservative strat where we take a little less damage and then hit our turbo boost. Unfortunately for me, guys, I hit a drone and I don't have good spacing there. We end up taking a lot of damage, and yes, we finished the race in power down. Now, thankfully, this isn't the second power down mode where you go incredibly slow, and we're just holding onto our butt cheeks right now, guys. Don't bump me, don't bump me. And then we're gonna do a quick, tight turn to the right here, because we're not gonna heal up. Are we gonna do it? Oh yeah, we finished first in Firefield, baby. I was so pumped. You don't even know. One strat that I wanted to mention, at the beginning of the race, I recommend being conservative and staying all the way on the left. Don't bother getting a bump. The reason why I say that is because unless you're a F-Zero master for reals, I find it's better to be more conservative than be riskier. Getting the bumps at the beginning, you can clearly get knocked around into the landmines and lose a ton of health on the first lap, which pretty much ruins the entire run. So I say stay conservative and always be on that left side. Another strat that I didn't really talk about is during this bend right here. You could straight up just like, if you see somebody coming from behind you and you're worried, you're better off actually just basically braking in front of them and getting a boost from them. The dead brake I noticed works a lot better than just sitting there or using the LRR buttons. I actually did that on my unsuccessful attempt. Somebody came up from behind me and I tried just the braking method and it worked perfectly. They bumped me forward and they didn't even get anywhere near me, where sometimes if I don't do that, we'll be able to skate around. But either way, guys, I hope that this helped you conquer expert or master mode. Give it a try. It's a very satisfying thing. This was very difficult. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Do my best to reply to all comments on all videos, and I'll see you guys in the next, I guess, walkthrough video. Catch up on my other F-Zero videos if you haven't as well. Take care.